Hello, my name's Steve and you are listening to the Go Footballing podcast. This is the show that talks all about grassroots football, whether you are a football coach, a player, parent, just got to love the game, and especially this week, a referee, you're in the right place. So on the lineup this week, it is going to be Ref Watch. We're going to be talking about grassroots football referees, what kind of heroes they are, making sure that grassroots games up and down the country always go ahead. This is your opportunity then to just send this over to all of your referee friends. And you also don't forget that if you've listened to the previous shows, a big thank you, especially the returning listeners. Absolutely appreciate every single listen that you give to me. If you ever want to comment in, it's no problem. You can always get me at gofootballpod@gmail.com. I'll be able to look at those, read some things out, take the ideas that you give me. They're all going to be brilliant and I really appreciate them. So let's get into the show. It's Ref Watch. So referees, wow. Okay, so this one could be controversial. I mean, I'm a referee. Last week, I had another assessment to move up to the next level. My goal in refereeing is I want to get down to level 3. That's where I'm aiming at the moment. I'm trying to get down there. I think that if I can get to level 3, I'd be really happy. So that's my sort of like personal target at the moment. Although it would be really nice to be, obviously called up on a plane, go and referee a World Cup final. But, reality is it's not going to happen for me, I don't think. So let's talk about some referees then. So listen, big shout out to all the referees. They make sure that games go ahead every single week in every single age group. Never really appreciated as much as what they maybe should. But also normally the brunt of most of the aggro that happens in the game too. They can never seem to make a decision right. So there's a couple of things that I always do when I'm refereeing. This is different depending on the age groups. So let's say that I've got a very young group. This could be any age, like maybe 10s downwards or maybe 9s downwards, something like that. But one thing I do with all age groups is I go in over and talk to them. Now, the talk to the younger age groups is very different to the older age groups or the open age groups that I also referee. If I go over to the younger ones, it's very much about making sure that I know that I'm approachable. So my chat goes something along the lines of, morning to everyone or afternoon. My name is Steve. I'm going to be refereeing today. It's absolutely fine for you to talk to me the whole way through the game. These are the things that we're expecting, and it'll be things like just make sure that you try and talk to me when the ball is still. So when it's out for a throw-in or when it's a goal kick, try and talk to me in those kind of things. If you've got any questions all the way through, you can either call me Steve, you can call me Ref, or anything like that. Listen to your coaches. They're here to help you. I'm here to help you. And I'm going to talk all the way through the game. And I generally am talking all the way through the game with those ones. And I think that there are a lot of good referees. Now, look, the good thing with referees, the number of referees, it is increasing. People are generally thinking that it's not and that there isn't enough referees. There's probably not enough referees, and I'll explain that further into the show, why you may end up struggling to get a referee in your area. But, as of the 23-24 season, which is when they kind of capped everyone off, and that's how we know, 37,000 registered referees in England. So, look, that's great, and, more power to the referees. And also a lot of those referees, they are players too. It's a 20% increase from the previous years. Again, so look, we're doing the right things. And I think that counties are putting on a lot of courses, really trying to help out, get people into refereeing, whether they be parents or alternatively, because you can go and do the course at 14 years old and you can go and do your level 7 junior right there at like I say, a very young age. There's a lot of players that are maybe playing under 15s, under 16s, under 17s. Certainly when I'm refereeing like an under 16s, under 17s, under 18s, I've generally seen one of those before, maybe reffing, maybe at the same place that I am at, or maybe they've even reffed one of the games for one of the teams that I coach and manage. So, great that we're getting some extra numbers in there. We do need to look after them though. So, a lot of negativity comes along across to them too. So what I will say is this first, is that if you're a parent, you're a coach, maybe if you're a player too, but especially coaches and parents that are genuinely the ones that are watching, shouting on, asking for decisions from referees, just take a look at that referee first. If they are wearing a red band, maybe a blue band or a coloured band on their arm, there is a very good chance that they are under the age of 18. So they need to be treated exactly the same. Now, They're not going to get every decision right. They're learning the game. They will be older than the children that are actually playing. They should be a year older than those. Although some counties may be slightly different to that. And I've certainly have known of a 16-year-old that's done an under-18s game before. And that was in a cup final. So I definitely know that can happen sometimes. But generally, referees are going to be a year older at least than the age groups that they're refereeing. But just take a look and just think, like, if that was a child in any other setting, any other area, would I be shouting abuse? Would I be doing anything negative? No, you wouldn't. So please don't do it to those referees. Those younger ones, they're the ones that are going to come through, and they're going to make sure that your kids, the next kids, brothers and sisters, or the younger brothers and sisters of the children that are playing, that want to go on and play football, you're going to make sure that we've got referees for those. And if we've increased by 20%, then that's great. But a lot of time, people are always asking, can't get a referee. I see the amount of social media posts of people and managers and clubs asking for referees to come on certain days because there just aren't enough. So let's kind of protect the younger ones that we have got. Some of the older ones that are, I wouldn't say dinosaurs, but some of the older referees as well, they've just got a love for the game. That's their way of staying included in the game, staying fresh with the game, keeping in the game, that maybe don't have the time or expertise to maybe go and coach a team. Maybe they've had children that were playing that are now no longer playing, maybe gone off to university, left home, so they're now playing too. So let's protect some of these referees. I think that something that to make sure that everyone always understands with referees is, as a grassroots referee, we get to see things once. We get to see it from one angle, in real time, one time. We all know what happened with Liverpool and Spurs. What happened? They have VAR. How much does VAR cost? I don't know the exact amount, but let's just say it's a lot of money. And let's also just confirm, I don't think there's any grassroots teams that have got VAR, or not a proper VAR. I mean, we've got plenty of mums and dads on the side with iPhones and Samsungs, haven't we, as well? We've got loads of those going on. We've got some VOs that we can always go back and check. But as far as real-time help, there isn't really any of it. We get to see it once at one time. We are going to get some things wrong. In a game, a referee's making, 1,000 decisions at a time. Balls in, out, where's the ball? So many different things go on, challenges that go in, we're thinking about things like force, we're looking at things like proximity to where challenges are made, making all of these decisions, and they're all split decisions that everyone has a different decision on and a different thought on. I had one at the weekend where a lad got fouled. It was just below knee height. The ball carried on going forwards. I blow the whistle. Lads are saying he got the ball. Honestly, he was probably 2 foot away from the ball at best. I was about 4 meters away, really close, able to make a decision. So when I went in there, really confident with my decision, when they shouted, got the ball, not a chance of it, off you go, free kick, sort of resolved. But we only get to see it once. So please appreciate that too, that we might get it wrong sometimes. There was a decision that I made at the weekend which was slightly wrong, and regarding a player that was coming back on, he had a bit of a bust lip, he went off, there was no substitutes or anything like that. He went off the pitch. I waved him back on. What I should have done, really, realising it afterwards, but just wanting the game to carry on playing, is I should have checked him because it was blood injury. I should have gone over and checked him and just made sure that he wasn't bleeding anymore and they got no blood on him. That's what I should have checked. But, in the spirit of the game, he was ready to come back on. I saw him before he went off, and I did go and tell his coach, blood injury, you need to make sure that he's all right. He can come back. He can come back on later. He's not going to stay off for the whole game. And they just shouted him back on, and I just looked at him and just waved him back on. Really shouldn't have done that. But listen, sometimes as referees, we're going to get things wrong, but it's all in the spirit of the game. A couple of other things with referees is that I've never met a referee, like professionally or in a grassroots setting, that's set out to cheat. Like, I just haven't met one. Literally just never. Met one that I've really, actually one maybe, but that's a different story. And if you want to know, you'll need to email in at gofootballpod@gmail.com, and anyone that's listening to this will know the situation as well. I got a yellow card for it, so but yeah, shouldn't have got one at all for asking the referee to protect some players. But I'm happy to share the whole story if enough people ask for it. So yeah, where I was. Yeah, so with with officials, don't really see any of them cheating. To be honest, I don't even see on purpose parents or coaches or teams that have got a assistant to run the line for them at some of the age groups. Again, I don't see them doing it. I just see two things that happen. One is the rules change every season. The lads get faster and faster. The parents get slower and slower. The parents are also there to watch a game. If they're trying to watch a game, their first concentration is not, has that ball been kicked? Should I be looking in line? It's, I'm watching the game and trying to watch it. Now, I know they should be doing it, but let's just be fair. They're making the game go ahead, okay? As a referee, we can make some of those decisions very quickly if someone is or isn't offside, because sometimes you can just tell. They have to run past the player. You can see which ones they are. Sometimes clear as day. Like I saw a couple this weekend, where the number 9 was straight through on goal. And I saw him and I was just waiting for the flag to go up. But if the flag hadn't gone up, I still probably would have blown for it because I could see how far offside he was. It was such a considerable amount that I didn't even need a linesman for it, or assistant referee. Didn't need one. I think that some of the concerns that referees do have, and some concerns that we probably need to all address, is just regarding the abuse and safety concerns, really. I think it relieved that about 98% of grassroots referees have experienced verbal abuse and about 300 reports of physical abuse. Not acceptable at all. I think there's 57 referees on some of the online stats that I've seen for this that have had death threats. Like, this is grassroots football. Like, this is not acceptable at all. So, listen, if we want to have referees, it's great. Look, 20% increase. But if we want to keep them, and we want them to keep coming, and we want to have referees refereeing the games, then we're going to have to look after them. We're going to have to sort something out about this. So, as good parents, as good coaches, respect ropes, make sure people are behind the respect ropes. What can referees do maybe a little bit different? Well, I go in and I have a little chat with the lads. I will tell the lads especially, or the girls as well, because I also ref both male and female open age groups too, is I will go into them and actually say, look, here's rules. This is what my expectations are of the game. If you want me to not blow this whistle, then this is how it'll have to be. If you're going to do any of these things, you will hear the whistle all the time. So, it'll be very much along the lines of, if you play nice football and the ball is rolling nicely, everything's a good pass, and there's no excess force, there's no carelessness in the game, and the ball's moving nicely, you won't hear my whistle. If we're charging with studs up, we're using excess force on players, we're making rash challenges, we're using bad language, you'll hear my whistle a lot. And I can always revert back to that at the end, during the game, of saying, like, at the start we talked about respect, and I mentioned things, talking with respect too. So, yeah, I think that there are a couple of things that we really need to maybe address. I think that there is a good retention rate with a lot of referees. I think they are getting a bit more support, especially in the county that I'm from. There's a lot more support going out there too for referees, which again is nice. But where it all comes from really is a couple of things that referees do find is that the energy off the pitch is translated onto the pitch. So if you're shouting negative things, you're probably going to get something negative happen on the pitch. If that does happen, then it's going to be carded. It's going to be potential sending offs, potential sin bins. I mean, just talking sin bins real quick, I think with sin bins made a massive difference. I always remind the teams that are playing with sin bins how long the sin bin is, whether it's 8 minutes for a game less than 90 minutes or whether it's 10 minutes for a 90-minute game. Always remind the team. I remind them what they can get it for too. And I do this in front of their coaches on purpose at the side of the pitch. Because that way I can always revert back to it and I get very, very little hassle. However, now that I've said that, I can guarantee I'll go out next week and get an absolute boatload. I mean, let's hope I don't, obviously. But, regarding referees, now, is there enough referees? Okay, now I'm just going to say this for coaches regarding selecting the times of their games, okay? So a lot of referees, they like to do multiple games, or they may be like what I do, team in the morning, referee in the afternoon, something along those lines. So if you've got a game and you have a game as a referee and you want to get 2 or 3 games in, the only way to be able to do that is not do certain kick-off times, okay? So most games will there's always games kicking off at 2 o'clock. Always games are kicking off at 2 o'clock. So if you work back from that, anyone asking for a game unless it's at the same venue and you're looking for the same referee to do 2 back-to-back games in the same day. 12:30 is a nightmare for referees. You will always see in your groups, need a referee 12:30 kickoff, sometimes 11:30 kickoff, because a referee can't get from one game to another game. Now, where they do like it is a 9:30 game. They love a 9:30 game because that goes on. Because if they get a 9:30 or a 10:30 game, then what they can do is they can still get to a 2 o'clock game, so they can get multiple games in. If a referee wants to be really tight with their games, then they might want to go for a 9:30 kickoff. So 9:30, maybe 70 minutes, maybe it's a 70-minute game. So that they'll be away. They can probably get 11:30. They can get one of those in, or somewhere around that sort of time. 11:30, we'll be able to travel too. So 11:30, which means that they ain't going to do a 12:30 because they want to get the 2 o'clock game in because they'll probably get paid more for it. So if you are trying to get games 2 o'clock, great. You need to make it so that a referee can get from where they are to your game to get to a game at 2 o'clock. So let's say if you can go for a 9:30 or a 10:30 or 11:30, 12:30 is just a write-off time, really, because no one's going to go and do a 12:30 and then do a 2 o'clock, which is why everyone's always asking for, can I have a game? I've got a game, 12:30 kickoff, referee requested, because referees, from my experience, they don't like that time. They don't like a 12:30 kickoff. Plus, it's right in the middle of the day. It's kind of, you've wasted your morning, you've wasted your afternoon by doing a 12:30 kickoff. If you're going to be doing multiple games, then you don't mind. But just doing a 12:30 game, it's not a typical thing to do. The only people that might do some of those is probably people that are players, where they've got to go from one game to another, and they might have been asked to do it by part of their club. So sort of like maybe an under-17s player may have been asked to do an under-12s game at the home ground of the team that they're playing at. So they may get a referee for that reason. Be nice to them though, because remember, they are under 18. They should be wearing their armbands if they are. So yeah, that is a little bit of Ref Watch this week. So just remember then, a couple of takeouts from this one. Wear an armband, be nice to them. Look, we're increasing referees year on year in England. That's a positive thing. 20% increase as well. 37,000 registered referees. Absolutely brilliant. And also, there's been an increase of 113% in female referees. And that's probably just, reflecting on the success that we've had within the female game, having more players that are going through and also becoming referees now too. So that's absolutely brilliant. So for coaches, players, parents, please look after your referees. They're there to do a good job. Remember, they're there so that the children, so the players, they all get games, they get game time in a safe environment, and every official, they will want the game to go as smooth as they can. It's not in their interest for it to be a horrible game. So please protect them. Please look after the referees. Well done to all the referees that are there. If you're one of those new referees, then great. If you're an older referee and you still go in, also great too, well done. Just email in though if you've got anything that you want to add to the show or anything that you want me to cover, and that is gofootballpod@gmail.com, and you'll hear from me next week.